Today is Wednesday, January 4th. What to know about a stalemate on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers have not been able to agree on a House Speaker. We'll tell you what happens now. Also, how the FDA may have just made abortion more accessible in parts of the U.S. And the generous way football fans are supporting the NFL player who collapsed during a game this week. Plus, where people are bracing for what could be a brutal storm today. Southwest's latest attempt to win back customers' trust. And more companies are giving raises to employees staying put. We'll tell you how much the average worker is getting for their loyalty. Those stories and more news in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. For the first time in a century, the U.S. House ended the first day of the new session without choosing a new speaker. For the last 100 years, the majority party leader has been elected with just one ballot. And if it went that way this time, it would have gone to Congressman Kevin McCarthy. McCarthy was pretty confident it was going to happen, too. He even started moving his furniture into the speaker's office already. But yesterday, the U.S. House voted 3 different times, and not once did McCarthy get enough votes. So for now, the House is in a stalemate. House lawmakers can't do any business until a speaker is chosen. They're planning to come back today at noon to take a 4th vote and possibly more after that if it's necessary. Political analysts point to clear divisions in the Republican Party. The GOP lawmakers leading the campaign against McCarthy say he's not conservative enough nor tough enough to battle the Democrats. But some of the other Republicans who support McCarthy say the small group voting against him just wants to upend business as usual in Washington. So what now? Well, McCarthy could try to persuade the Republican holdouts in the next few hours. Or another Republican could be nominated for the position. So stay tuned. On the other side of the Capitol, the Senate Minority Leader celebrated a milestone. Mitch McConnell became the longest-serving party leader in Senate history now that he's spent 16 years and counting in the leadership role. McConnell called it the greatest honor of his career to represent Kentucky and said the second greatest honor is the trust he gets from his fellow Republican senators. This week, the FDA made a rule change that's reigniting the abortion debate in America. The government agency decided an abortion pill is safe enough that regular pharmacies can carry it in states where it's legal. Until now, the pill could only be accessed through specially certified doctors or clinics or a handful of mail-order pharmacies. Well, with this change, people will be able to get them at any pharmacies that agree to carry them, from corner drugstores to major chains like CVS and Walgreens. Again, only where state laws allow. But even there, patients will need to get a prescription from a certified healthcare provider. And patients will have to be in their first trimester of pregnancy. Already, it's estimated that half of all abortions in the U.S. rely on the medication, while the rest are surgical. And some organizations will even mail abortion pills to women in states with abortion bans. But some people think this latest decision will expand abortion access more. Abortion activists celebrated the FDA's decision, calling it a step in the right direction for health equity. But anti-abortion groups say the change is reckless, and some have accused the FDA of valuing abortion industry profits more than human lives. So this debate is expected to end up back in court. Well, football fans all around the world are rallying behind the NFL player who collapsed on the field during a game Monday. Remember, Damar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest a few seconds after a tackle while the Buffalo Bills played the Cincinnati Bengals. As of this morning, he's still in the intensive care unit of the hospital in critical condition. It's not clear when or if the Bills-Bengals game will resume, but the NFL says it will not be this week. The NFL Players Union put out a statement saying our focus remains on Damar and encouraged players to reach out if they need someone to talk to. Also, all 32 NFL teams changed their Twitter profile pictures to an image of Hamlin's jersey number with the message, "Pray for Damar." Fans are also showing their support to Hamlin by donating money to his charity that's striving to give toys to children in his hometown. And get this, at last check, the toy drive had raised nearly $6 million. His family put out a statement to thank fans, as well as the healthcare professionals who have been caring for Hamlin, and the Bills and Bengals for their support. A powerful new storm is set to impact the entire state of California starting today, though Northern California and the Bay Area are expected to see the worst of it. The National Weather Service says some places could see as much as 8 inches of rain and wind gusts of up to 70 miles an hour. So meteorologists are telling people to expect more widespread flooding, hillsides collapsing, trees falling, and more. Bottom line, it's what they're calling a brutal system that needs to be taken seriously. So many authorities are handing out sandbags, and some have urged people to evacuate. Oh, and these storms come just days after rain, flooding, and hurricane-force winds came to the same areas of California. And even more storms could be in the forecast later this week. One good thing about all the rain, it's helping to alleviate the drought California has been dealing with for years now, even if the relief is only short-term. More news is still coming up, but first, this podcast is sponsored by Rothy's. If you are ready to refresh your 2023 wardrobe, check out Rothy's for chic, sustainable shoes that will make you look and feel great. They have a ton of stylish options. And if trying to live a more sustainable life is on your New Year's resolutions list this year, Rothy's has you covered there too. Each style is knit to shape with their sustainable signature thread made from recycled single-use plastic bottles, over 146 million and counting. Not only does that signature thread make them sustainable, it also makes them soft and flexible. So Rothy's shoes feel and look great right out of the box. That's right, 0 break-in period. I'll be honest, comfort is just as important to me as the style when it comes to my shoes. And Rothy's has both. By the way, if you want to make a sustainable swap on handbags, totes, wallets, and more as well, Rothy's has you covered there too. For stylish and comfortable shoes and more, shop Rothy's. Get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/newsworthy. That's $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/newsworthy. The reports of young children getting sick from eating marijuana edibles has skyrocketed in recent years as more states have legalized cannabis. The new study out this week says in 2017, there were just about 200 reported cases of children under 6 years old accidentally eating edibles. But in 2021, that number shot up to over 3,000. The vast majority, like 97% of the kids, found the drugs in their own home. Thankfully, most of them only got mildly sick, but in about a quarter of the cases, things got so bad the kids needed to be admitted to the hospital. So medical professionals say anyone who thinks their child might have gotten into edibles should take them to a doctor right away. And before it happens at all, they suggest parents store edible cannabis products in child-proof containers and keep them out of reach of children. It might not just be FTX, but dealing with any kind of cryptocurrency could come with risks like scams and fraud. At least that's the message from U.S. regulators this week. They told banks that working with crypto is likely to be, quote, inconsistent with safe and sound banking practices, and basically said, be cautious. This is the first joint statement from the Federal Reserve, FDIC, and OCC about crypto. But they're still looking into proposals from banks who want more crypto activities. And they say they'll issue more statements in the future. Well, keep in mind, there are still crypto exchanges who stand by their industry. For example, Binance and Crypto.com recently started releasing internal data meant to show they're handling crypto responsibly. Of course, all of this comes after the high-profile collapse of the crypto exchange FTX. Founder Sam Bankman-Fried, aka SBF, was just in federal court yesterday. There, he pled not guilty to 8 criminal charges like fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, and more. For now, he's set to go to trial in October. Video game workers just voted to form Microsoft's first official union in the U.S. and the biggest gaming union in the country. They work as quality assurance testers at the gaming studio Microsoft now owns called ZeniMax. And some game testers now say they're organizing to fight for better pay and working conditions. Microsoft says it plans on recognizing the new union and looks forward to negotiating new employee contracts. Now that Southwest Airlines has mostly recovered from the meltdown that impacted Christmas weekend travel, it's trying to make it up to the customers who got caught in the middle of it all. On top of the ticket refunds and reimbursement for expenses, Southwest started giving affected travelers 25,000 frequent flyer points. Anyone who had a flight delayed more than 3 hours or canceled altogether between December 24th and January 2nd can claim the extra points now. Of course, all these costs add up for Southwest. Bank of America estimates the whole Christmas weekend debacle will cost the airline between $600 and $700 million. And that's not even including the new technology upgrades Southwest is now promising. It also doesn't include any fines Southwest might have to pay if the Transportation Department decides to issue any. For now, its investigation is ongoing. You might start seeing a lot more Sherlock Holmes adaptations performed soon. The copyrights on the final short story collection, The Casebook of Sherlock Holmes, just expired this week. And that means the public can remake, republish, or remix them without getting permission or paying any royalties. Just one example of how this works, there's a new trailer out for a horror film starring a bloodthirsty Winnie the Pooh. The filmmakers were able to turn the beloved children's character into a villain, and the Walt Disney Company could not do anything about it, all because the original Pooh books became part of the public domain last year. This year, the Sherlock Holmes stories are among thousands of books, films, and musical compositions entering the U.S. public domain. Well, that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, thanks to our sponsor, Rocket Money. Say goodbye to last year's outdated, disorganized methods of managing your money and say hello to Rocket Money, the better way to upgrade your finances in 2023. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. When it comes to the subscriptions, well, I've been guilty of forgetting to cancel free trials only to be charged and not even realize it for months. Yep, months go by and I have wasted money. I'm not alone. Rocket Money says over 80% of people have subscriptions that they forget about. Well, Rocket Money makes canceling them as easy as a click of a button. To cancel a subscription for most services, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long holds with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. So stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. That's rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. Staying at your current job could really pay off this year. Literally. The Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta says workers who stay put are getting their biggest pay raises in decades. The latest data out is from November. It says workers who stayed at their jobs made 5.5% more than they did 1 year earlier. That's the highest increase in 25 years of record keeping. Though employees who did change companies or occupations saw even bigger raises. Of course, it all sounds like good news for workers getting higher salaries. But the Fed does also point out it doesn't necessarily mean more money in their pockets. As we know, some companies compensate for their extra labor costs by raising prices. So overall, inflation is getting worse. And when you factor in the annual inflation rate with wages, private sector workers are actually taking home almost 2% less than they were a year ago. That said, the business consulting company WTW says companies are planning even more salary increases this year. So depending on what happens with inflation over the next year, things could start to even out a little. Thank you so much for joining us as part of your daily routine in 2023. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.